Welcome back to the Creative Business Mindset Podcast. I am Jane Bellante, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new here, this is a space where we break free from overthinking, from outdated business advice, and from the invisible limits you didn't even know you were still living by, so you can build a business that actually reflects who you are. So today we're diving into one of the most powerful identity aligned tools you can use in your business, and that is storytelling. But it's not the fake kind, not the perfectly polished formula following kind. I'm actually talking about honest storytelling here, the kind that comes from truth and not performance. The kind that helps people connect with you as a human first, and it makes them say, yes, I need this, or I trust her, or this is for me. Because if you're listening to this show, I know something about you. You're not building a business just to make money. You're building a business because something inside of you knows you're meant for more. And storytelling is how we help other people feel that same thing inside themselves. So today we're going to talk about why storytelling works. And this is on a subconscious and an emotional level. What makes it different from performance, and 3 story types you can use right now. How to tie these stories into what it is that you are selling, and how to make storytelling a natural part of your weekly content without burning out or sounding fake. So we're going deep today, and I'm so excited to get started. Welcome to the Creative Business Mindset Podcast, the show where creativity meets strategy and mindset meets success. I'm Jane Bellante, artist, coach, and creative entrepreneur, here to help you break free from self-doubt, clear limiting beliefs, and build a business that aligns with who you truly are. Each week, we dive into the mindset shifts, visibility strategies, and creative breakthroughs that help you turn your passion into a thriving business without burnout, overthinking, or perfectionism holding you back. If you're ready to step into your power, create with confidence, and grow a business you love, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Okay, so most of us didn't start our businesses to become marketers. We started because we were called to create, right? We love to make whatever it is that we make or whatever it is that we create. We want to help. We want to express something real. We want to solve a problem for someone. And maybe it's the exact problem we once had. But somewhere along the way, we started hearing, use this script, follow this formula, hook them in 3 seconds, use a trending audio, like all of the advice, right, that everybody else is doing. And suddenly we are not connecting, we are performing. We're faking enthusiasm for an algorithm. We're trying to sound like someone we're not, and we're chasing approval instead of connection. And the worst part, it really and truly starts to feel like none of it is working. So I want to pull this back today. And I want to tell you that storytelling is not about performance. It's about emotional resonance. It's about helping people feel something real. Because when you tell a story, especially a story grounded in your lived experience, you activate mirror neurons in your audience. Their brain starts to process the story as if it's happening to them. And that's what builds trust. That is what dissolves skepticism. And that's what makes people say, wait, I need to hear more. So you're not convincing and you're not pitching, you're just inviting. And in this world that we live in right now that is so full of noise, storytelling is what quiets the scroll and opens the heart. I want to get clear here about the difference between storytelling that works and storytelling that feels off. So it's the difference between identity-based storytelling and performed marketing. So if you are using performed storytelling, it kind of sounds like, let me try to craft this viral moment. I want to say what I think my audience wants to hear, or this sounds emotional enough, right? It might technically be good, but if it isn't grounded in your truth, people feel that. and they don't always know why, but disconnection is there. There's a gap. Identity-based storytelling, on the other hand, asks, what do I deeply believe? What have I learned that changed me? And what do I want my audience to understand about themselves? It's not about telling your life story. It's just about sharing little moments of truth, the kind of moments that changed you and now live inside your work. You don't need to tell the most dramatic story to connect. You just need to tell the most honest one. And that starts with knowing who you are, because when you are grounded in your identity, your voice becomes magnetic. You stop chasing clients and you literally start attracting them. So, I want to walk you through 3 types of stories you can begin using right now. And this is whether you're writing an email, making a reel, or maybe you're just captioning a photo of whatever it is that you are selling. So, the first one is the identity before and after story. So, this is the story of who you were before you had your solution and who you had now. So, it could be, before I started in art journaling, I felt trapped in perfectionism. Or before I started coaching, I was lost in a sea of strategies and I was still felt stuck. Before I created this piece of jewelry, I didn't think beauty was something I could create with my own hands. And so these are just examples, but these stories are powerful because they're relatable. People see themselves in your before, and you give them permission to believe in their own after. Even if your business is product based, you can tell this story through the identity shift of your customer. It's not about what the candle smells like, it's about how it makes them feel like home. Okay, so the second story that you can begin telling right now is the micro moment story. These are so good. It's a small moment that reveals a deeper truth. So maybe it's a walk you took, a conversation you had, a feeling you had. So something like this. I was standing in my studio the other day and realized I wasn't creating, I was performing. That's when I stopped and asked myself, who am I actually making this for? That's a story. It's short, it's honest, and it draws your audience into a moment that helps them reflect on their own life. And these are really easy for you to collect if you just keep a running list in your notes app. Just title it something like Story Seeds or My Stories or Story Ideas. And then you can just drop them as they come to you all week long. And then when you're going to post them, you just choose the one that's resonating with you the most. And the third story that you can start using right now is called the transformation through your offer. So this is the client story or it's the feedback story. But again, it doesn't need to be dramatic. It could just be like a client of mine shared that she finally made her first sale after rewriting her about page based on our work together. What shifted wasn't just the words, it was how she saw herself. So these stories sell without sounding like a pitch. Or if you're an artist and you do art shows all the time, it could be that a client walked up to your booth, they saw a piece, they were immediately enamored with it, and they bought it. They said it reminded them of their mom or a vacation they took or something, right? These stories actually sell without sounding like it's a pitch. Because instead of I can help you, you're saying, here's proof this already works. Do you want in? It's so good. So, I want to get practical now with all of this information, and I want to just talk a little bit about how you can use stories in your marketing, because you might be thinking, okay, I have a story, but where do I use it? How do I use it? So, a few ways that you can tie in your story to your marketing could be in your email welcome sequence, could be in your sales page, your Facebook or your Instagram bio, the caption under your product photos, live videos, group posts, your website's about section, or your lead magnet or challenge intro. And so I know that some of you are like, what's a lead magnet, right? So don't worry. If you don't have any of those, that's okay. Start just using it in your social media posts. But I don't want you to just tell your story. I want you to frame it around your audience. Tell it in a way that helps them see what is actually possible. So you're asking yourself three questions. What belief does this story shift? What emotion does this story speak to? And what invitation does this story open? And don't be afraid to use the same story multiple times in different ways, because that is how consistency is built and that's how resonance is formed. You're not being super repetitive, you're actually being remembered. So, there are a few things that get in the way of telling stories, and I want to talk about that, the things that stop us from doing this. And it's not time, it's not lack of skill. It usually really and truly is the fear of your true self being seen, fearing that your story isn't big enough, that people won't care, that you'll be too much or not enough, or that you're sharing something that you can't believe you're sharing, even though you know your perfect person will resonate with it, right? But here's what I know. The moment you share your story, someone else sees themselves in it. And that's why we have to do this work. It's not just for our marketing, but it's for ourselves. It's for our own healing. Because when you let yourself be seen, you start to feel less anxious because it feels good in your body. It feels true. Every time you tell the truth about yourself, you're showing your nervous system it is safe to be seen. And that is what makes your business magnetic. The people see the real you and then they want more of it. So I want to end today's episode by bringing this back to identity, because the most powerful storytelling doesn't come from you trying to be persuasive, because that isn't natural, right? That feels performative. It actually comes from letting people meet the truest version of you. So I have 4 reflection questions that you can write down and you can journal about today so that you can really strengthen your storytelling abilities. So the first one is, what is a belief I hold now that I didn't believe 2 years ago? And some of you are like, well, I hold a belief now that I didn't believe 6 months ago, right? So timeline is up to you. Second is, what was one moment I knew I needed to create the thing I now offer? So what led up to you creating the thing you now offer? Third is, when have I felt most connected to my audience? What was I sharing? So it could be in person, could be online. And the last one is really big. What truth have I been afraid to say out loud, but I know that someone else needs to hear? So these are, and if you need to pause this and write those down, go ahead and do that. But these are the seeds of your magnetic stories. And when you write and speak from that place, your marketing actually becomes a mirror for your audience. They suddenly can see themselves, they feel safe, they trust you, and then they buy. And it's not because you pitched them, it's because you showed them what was possible and reminded them of who they really are. So, thank you so much for being here today. If this episode helped shift your view of marketing, if it reminded you that your truth is enough, if it made you feel a little less alone in your business journey, then I have done my job, because your story matters, your voice matters, and your people are already listening because you are 100% possible 100% of the time. So I will see you on Monday for Motivation Monday. Have a great week, everyone.